great job today, and it is a pleasure to be here with you today at First Christian Endyre. I'm Lance Hurley, I'm the Executive Director of Ignite Church Planting, and I'm just very grateful to be here with you today. I've been praying for you, I've been praying for our time together today, and I know God's here. How about that? God is here. Now, I brought 3 items with me today that have something in common. Let me pull them out here. First of all, we got this item here. Vintage, huh? Okay, all right. And then we have this item here. Not so vintage, all right? And then last but not least, I've got a thermometer. Okay? Now, these 3 things have something in common. You know what it is? We all respond to these in one way or another, right? Okay, well, let me ask you. When you hear this sound, let me get to it here. What do?
Wake up.
Usually, if you're like me, you go, oh, right? Okay? We all respond to that, though, right? Okay, when you get a call on this, what do? Usually I look at the face of this because I want to know how I want to respond to it, right? Either send it off or pick it up, right? And if you have one of these in your mouth, you put it in there for a reason, right? And if you're above 98.6, what do? I usually take aspirin, okay? Because I'm a man. I don't call doctors, right? Until I really need to, right? These are all things we respond to. And we're used to responding to different things, right? Now, whether it's a request from a friend, an application in the mail, or a need that we see in front of us. I was in the grocery store a few weeks ago, and I saw a little lady trying to reach the top shelf, and she just couldn't do it. And I walked over to her, you can do one of 2 things. You either walk on by or you walk over, right? So I walked over to her and I said, may I help you? She said, please. So I reached up and grabbed it and handed it to her, okay? Because we respond. My wife told me the story today of a guy in Key West who has chosen to ride out Hurricane Irma on his boat. Now, I don't think that's the smartest way to respond to the thing coming toward you, but hey, we'll see what happens, right? We all choose to respond in different ways. And we respond to things all the time. And it should come as no surprise to us today. The same holds true for anyone who wants to follow Jesus. And this leads to the idea I want to explore today together. And that is, I believe that Jesus invites us, each one of us, to participate in his mission. And there's a simple truth that goes along with this. We get to choose how we respond. That's on us. Well, let me give you some background for the Bible passage I want to explore today. In fact, we're going to be looking at Acts 9. If you have your Bibles, turn to Acts 9. And Saul, in this story here, later to become Paul, the author of so many of the New Testament books, was on the hunt for Christians across the Palestine region. He'd been given a letter from the leaders of the church in Jerusalem, not the church of Jerusalem, but the synagogue, the temple in Jerusalem, authorizing the use of extreme measures against the followers of Jesus. He was on his way to the city of Damascus to put this letter into practice. And approaching the city, a bright light from heaven hit him, knocked him off the animal he was riding on, knocked him to the ground. He lay there, and a voice asked him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And Saul asked, who are you, Lord? Who are you, Lord? And I'm sure the reply stunned him. I am Jesus, whom you're persecuting. Jesus told him to proceed into the city to wait for what was to come next. Unable to see, Paul was helped to his feet and went to the city where for 3 days he did not eat or drink. Now, to this point we begin the story. For Ananias, a follower of Jesus, is introduced here. Jesus approached Ananias in a vision and said this, Ananias, go to the house of Judas on Straight Street and ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul, for he is praying. And in a vision, he has seen a man named Ananias come and place his hands on him to restore his sight. Now remember the theme for today. Jesus invites us to participate in his mission. I've entitled this message, Encounter Jesus, because the reality of it is, Jesus wants us to help him seek and save the lost. Jesus says in Luke 10:10, this is why I came, to seek and to save what was lost. Or 19:10. Ananias here is faced with a challenge and an opportunity in the story. And when this happens to us, we get to choose how we respond as followers of Jesus. See, I recognize something, guys. When Jesus extends an invitation to us, there are going to be obstacles that stand in the way of us fulfilling his invitation. Now, I've also come to realize something as I look at my own life. Most of the time, the obstacle is, really, it's me. When it's all said and done. We all understand the reality of obstacles, right? We see them all the time. You ever drive in Chicagoland traffic, right? You feel obstacles, okay? We've all sat behind someone who's taller than us. We've all seen obstacles. Let me show you an obstacle here. Roll and go. Roll one more. See that obstacle there? Now let me show you what happens when we move obstacles. You believe that? The beauty of pictures, of photography, right? All angles, right? Hey, we look at Ananias' response here to Jesus, and I see that there are some very common obstacles that we encounter here. They're revealed obstacles that we have to remove if we want to be ready to move and respond positively to Jesus' invitation to participate. Here's what Ananias says: Lord, I have heard many reports about this man and all the harm he has done to your saints in Jerusalem. And he's come here with authority from the chief priest to arrest all who call on your name. Now, let's look at some of these obstacles we encounter. Jesus invites us. Obstacles immediately begin to pop up. First obstacle, preconceived ideas. He said, I have heard many reports about this guy. He was basing his response to Jesus' invitation on hearsay. That Jesus allows us and invites us to interact with others. There's danger, though, when he asks us to do that, because we have preconceived ideas in our mind of what those outside are like. I remember a neighbor we had. I was pastoring in Mantino. Now, we didn't know these neighbors. They were a husband and wife, and they would swear loudly at each other often in the late evenings. They'd swear at their children. They'd have very loud discussions, okay? They had some pretty rough friends, okay? One night, I was awakened to hear them yelling at each other. I looked out the window of the apartment complex across the road to watch him knock her down with a bunch. I called the cops on that one, okay? I still remember the day that Dorothy walked into the church. Darla, my wife, said, I wonder what she's doing here. I wondered the same thing. I said, let's see. Let's see. We were able to see God do some very amazing things in Dorothy and later on Mike's life. Mike became a friend of mine. He hung drywall in the church we were building for nothing. We had many hours to talk together. Dorothy was baptized into Jesus later on. And Darla told me, God taught me something through this. She taught me how I need to see people the way he does. And I need to open my life to people who are different than me. I learned that lesson too. But see, it's always the impulse we have is to think of people differently than us as being different. It's preconceived. It is natural. It's very natural. I have the privilege of leading the church planting movement around Chicagoland. Since 2001, we've started 31 churches in this region. About 5,000 people on any given Sunday worship in one of those churches that we've started. But talking with people, I continue to be amazed by the preconceived idea that there are enough churches already to meet all the people's needs. And it's simply not true. I remember having a conversation with a guy up in Des Plaines. And the honest truth, in Des Plaines, over 80% of the people in town could not get into church even if they want to. Every church was filled to capacity twice. We have a factory and a multiplier we use on this. And I was telling the guy this. He said, "Oh, that's not true." I said, well, what are you basing that on? He said, well, I see churches all over. I said, well, yeah, but you gotta look at the population base. Well, I argued with him for a while. I just didn't do any good because he couldn't see it. Even around here, 2/3 of the people have no relationship with Jesus or his church. That's just a simple stat across Chicago, no matter where you are. And it rises or falls a little bit, but not much. There's simply not enough churches. Now, guys, if we're all honest, we'll admit that we have preconceived ideas at times about people who are outside of Jesus. And whether it's the way a person looks, whether they're multi-tattooed, or the way they dress, or the way they talk, or the way they act or respond to things, we draw a picture in our mind of what that person's like. I do the same thing. And I try not to. See, the problem is when we allow ideas and thoughts that we have to become the obstacle that stands between us reaching out to people who are there, right? Okay, so preconceived ideas. Ananias had heard about Saul. The second thing I recognize about Ananias is he had a fear of the unknown. What did Ananias heard? He said, I have heard many reports about this man, all the harm he has done to your saints in Jerusalem. And he's come here with authority from the chief priests to arrest all who call on your name. The rumor mill had worked very quickly here. Damascus is about 150 miles away from Jerusalem, a 4 to 6 day journey already. Ananias had heard, he's coming. He's coming. Saul, the name of Saul, filled Christians with fear. And now Jesus is asking Ananias, go talk to this guy. And says, whoa. I'm not ready for that. Fear of the unknown often could be an obstacle that puts itself in the way of us taking action for Jesus. I've lived it, okay? For many years, I think about the ministry I did with some friends at a bar in Romeoville. Okay, they were Christian musicians. They wanted to play Christian rock in a place that was dark. And so it'd be real easy to say, oh no, I can't see that at all. Okay, really. Okay, it would be very easy to. No way people are going to respond positively to the message being sung about in that atmosphere. What would people in our churches think if they heard that I was going to a bar? Right? And I can't even describe the fear I felt as I walked across the parking lot toward the door of the bar that first time. I thought, oh my. All I could picture in my mind was the Blues Brothers movies with the band behind the chicken wire fence. Right? Okay, really, that's what I was seeing. I remember walking real slow. The steps got slower and slower, but I finally pushed that door of the bar open and entered halftime bar. I'll tell you what, God worked through that ministry. It was exciting. It was fun. And God changed hearts. You know the most important heart He changed? I remember the time I was sitting there, and back then you could smoke in bars in Illinois. So, I mean, the smoke was about this high, all the way down to here in the bar. And I'm watching people interact in the bar. There were some young guys who were punching a punching bag machine to see how strong they were. Every time they punch it, they go, yeah! Like young guys who do it that. Okay, they were doing that. I saw people trying to connect with other people of the opposite sex there. I saw people drinking and partying. I saw people shooting pool. And I thought, I looked at the people and, oh my! And that's when the Spirit spoke into my heart. And you know what He said? He said, Lance, I love all these people. Doesn't matter what they've done, doesn't matter where they've been. I love them all. I thought, yeah, and so must I. God loves Saul. Okay? Now, He did not love what Saul was doing to Christians, putting them in prison, seeking their execution, but God did love Saul. And it's something for me important to remember myself. God wants the church to reach out to people who are far away from Him because He loves them. Simply, He loves them. Even when we're scared, we need to do it. I remember an outreach event we had in Manteno where we were handing out cold Cokes on a street corner one Saturday morning. A lady volunteered to help. But when she came to the event, she said, I just don't think I can do this. I'm too scared. I said, okay. Why don't you hand us Coke so we can hand them out to you? I mean, it's really simple. You walk up to a car and say, diet or regular Coke. What would you like? Okay? So we just hand them out. And we were just showing God's love in a practical way. After we'd done that for about 45 minutes, she said, "Can I try it?" I said, "Well, sure. Here you go." And she became an animal. Okay? She was running down the street before cars ever got to the stoplight saying, "Hey, we want to show you God's love in a practical way. Die regular." And she thanked me afterwards. She said, "I'm so glad I did that." Because she conquered her fear and she got to play. Now, anytime we give the call to Jesus to stretch beyond ourselves, it does generate a certain degree of fear. It does. Think about things that lie ahead here. Intersection points in a church's life are always kind of scary. I know that. I've seen it. I've encountered churches who get stuck at the intersection, though, and they can't move. And this can be a reality because making decisions is scary. Okay, and I know that. And we know that making a decision involves moving a new direction. And fear, while it is a very real emotion, and it is, must not be the emotion we count on. Because if we follow Jesus, our emotion is faith, not fear. Simply put, we walk by faith. I appreciate something I read not too long ago. It said this: it's the start that stops most people. Right? Okay? So Jesus calls us to take that first step, to start. Third thing I see from Ananias are comfort zone issues. Now, have you ever been asked to step outside your comfort zone? This is exactly where Ananias was when Jesus asked him to go. Go to the house of Judas on Straight Street, he says, okay? He's seen a man named Ananias come and place his hand on it. I can just see her, Ananias, but okay, there are many guys named Ananias here in Damascus. I don't think this is the Ananias you're talking to, right? And I mean, honestly, look at what this guy Saul's like. Come on. A couple years ago in Colorado, my wife and I were out there at the Garden of Gods outside Colorado Springs. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. I had God spotting, several when you factor in the gorgeousness of God's creation, but I was watching this lady climb a rock wall. Go to the next one, Roland. Thank you. I watched this lady climbing this rock wall. And I heard her talking to her belayer, the guy who was holding the ropes for her down the base of this cliff. And she said this, she said, "I can't do it. I do not see any holds up here for me to take. I don't think I can get to the top. I'm stuck right here, so just lower me down." And that's when I heard the voice of the belayer. And here's what he said. Very calmly. "Hey, relax, relax. Take a deep breath. I want you to look up to your left. Because if you stretch out your left arm, there is a handle up there for you. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it." She reached up, she grabbed it. It's okay. Now if you look to your right, down below, right above your foot, where you're at right now, just lift your foot up. There's a hold there for your foot. There's a place. Step. He talked to her past where she was. And she made it all the way to the top. See, she listened. And because she listened, she could gain a whole new perspective on this. See, I know it's so easy to get comfortable. And getting used to doing certain things. Doing what doesn't cost. Or what's scary. I ride a motorcycle. When I first took my first test drive on a big motorcycle, you know what the most difficult part of that for me was? Pulling out into traffic for the first time. I pulled out of a parking lot where I was taking this bike on a test drive, and I pulled up to the street where I was going to pull out onto, and I thought, man, I don't know if I can do this or not. And I talked to myself there for a couple of minutes. And finally, I took a deep breath, let loose of the clutch, rolled the throttle, and off I went. Now, I could have got stuck right there. But I'm glad I did. It pushed me beyond my comfort zone, but that's where I want to live, personally. Professionally, I know I need to continue to stretch. I need to continue to talk to people about being donors for Ignite. I need to continue to cast a vision of the importance of church planting to people who don't always get it or don't see how vital it is. And I need to put myself in places where it scares me. Because when I'm scared, that's when I get to trust God to catch me. I'm talking to myself here, okay? Remember, the obstacle that stands in the way most often is me. Okay? I need to do it personally too. I need to keep reaching out to others around me, whether it's going to be talking to my neighbor or stepping into a conversation about Jesus when the opening comes, being willing to pray with somebody when I sense the Spirit leading me. I need to spend more time outside my comfort zone. I need to be more reliant on God's help and not as much on what I can do. Here's what I know, guys. We can allow any of these obstacles, and there are others, to derail us from following the instructions of Jesus. But followers of Jesus do not give in to fear. We do not give in to doubt or preconceived ideas. We refuse to allow our comfort to stand in the way of the calling Jesus gives us to participate out there. And for me, it means I must continue to do what scares me. I must go beyond what makes me comfortable in order to make the most difference for Jesus. And only when I go beyond myself, I can truly allow God to work in me and through me. Now, I'll be honest. I do have a problem that crops up fairly regularly. Let me show you what it looks like. It looks like my shooting protection, my ear protection. I use this when I shoot, target practice or whatever. And it blocks sound out. But I recognize that spiritually, I can be like this where the sound of God, where the voice of God is concerned. You know what I mean? That I get so used to doing things my way or whatever that it just kind of blocks the voice of the Father, and I don't even hear him anymore. Because I can't hear anything right now except my own voice talking. This is not where we want to be. Let's go back to Ananias for just a moment. He expressed his doubts and concerns to Jesus. But Jesus made it very plain what he wanted Ananias to do. Because hear what Jesus said. Go. I think like that. Go. This man is my chosen instrument to carry my name before the Gentiles and their kings and before the people of Israel. I will show him how much he must suffer for my name. I read something about this statement. Jesus chose Saul before Saul ever chose to follow Jesus. Do you recognize that? Jesus had a plan for Saul. Just as he has a plan for so many people out here who don't know him yet. Okay, I want you to know that. There are people out here who are going to be church planters at some point in time. They haven't been reached yet, but they're going to be. Or they'll be pastors, or they'll be teachers, or they'll be whatever for the kingdom. We've got to go out. Ananias said yes to Jesus because he went. And because he did, Saul, later to become Paul, planted a movement of churches across the world. Now, if Ananias had said no, and he could have said no, Jesus would have used somebody else to get to Paul. Okay, I want you to know that. And Ananias would have missed out seeing Jesus at work. And I don't want to miss out on participating in Jesus' mission. Now, guys, I look forward to what lies ahead here. I know that Jesus wants the church is going to reach everybody out there. Because that's why churches are established. We'll talk more about this in a little while. We want churches ready to pour out the hope of Jesus that is able to do that in new ways. It takes people who are willing to stretch. And you are those people. People willing to stretch, willing to push beyond the comfort zone. With this in mind, I want to challenge you to do a couple of things today and in the week ahead. Okay, first of all, I want to ask you to say no to obstacles. Okay, so when obstacles come, and they will, okay, they will, I want you to say no. I always encourage Jesus followers to spend time daily in the Word. Okay, that's where we grow. And that's where we get the strength to continue to say yes to the things that matter. And that's the second thing I want to do. I want you to say yes to Jesus' invitation to adventure. I mean, who do you know who needs a church home around here? There are people. Okay, there are people. I think Trying to think off the top of my head. 13,000, 14,000 just in the zip code. So, you know, 2/3 of those. 2/3 of those have no relationship with Jesus or church. Okay? Simple truth, simple math. Okay? We ask Jesus to open your eyes and your heart to them. And when you hear the call, will you respond? Will you say, yes? And last but not least, I'm going to give you a reminder, a seed reminder today. Okay? Start one over here. Okay? Take one. Pass it along, please. Take one, pass it along. One for everybody. It's a sunflower seed. I love sunflower seeds because they reproduce like crazy. You plant one sunflower, and it can take over a field to give it enough time, because the one seed produces a flower that has a head that has hundreds of seeds in it. Okay? And here's what I know. We put seeds out all the time as we follow Jesus. With good seeds, bad seeds, right? I want to encourage you to move positive seeds of love and concern and mercy for others. And like that video said, forgiveness. Very good. Very good. So, look for people around you that you can cast seeds out into their lives next week. And do it intentionally. And as you do so, pray for that person. Pray for that person. Because people need Jesus. So take that seed, put it somewhere as a reminder that I need to take a shot. Wayne Gretzky said this: you miss 100% of the shots you never take. Take a shot next week. Let's see what happens as you extend love. Let me pray for you. Father, I thank you so much for the way you pour out your love and mercy into our lives, so that we in turn can do the same thing into the lives of others. Lord, continue to open our eyes to those around us who need the touch of your Son. We know time's running out. We want as many people with us in heaven as we can. Father, I pray for this church. I ask for your guidance and your protection, your help, just your wisdom and discernment for what comes next. And I thank you so much for the amazing privilege you've given us of being salt and light as we follow Jesus. Help us to do so well this next week. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, William. And I want to remind you guys, we're going to have a congregational meeting after this. So if you have any questions, we wanted you guys to think about some possible questions that you had for Lance. Maybe questions about the St. Louis Cardinals, or questions about the future of our church. You had a question, Wally, about the St. Louis Cardinals?
I never question the Saints.
So if you want to stay for that, and we invite you guys to stay for that and ask questions. And also, my mom reminded me it's Grandparents' Day today. So if you're a grandparent, we love you. We thank you for everything you do for us. Like, did you know, Josh? We love you, grandparents. All right, I'm going to invite you guys to stand as we close and sing this song.
Early in the morning. merciful and mighty, God in three persons, blessed Trinity.
Amen. Have a blessed week and go bless someone else.